What is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young, founder of appmasters.com, the place you go when you want action-packed content related to helping you grow your downloads and, more importantly, those revenues. I am back from Italy representing. Thank you guys, all the Italians out there who are watching. Thank you for your hospitality. I had a fantastic time. We got back on Wednesday, and there's no breaks here. And I've been meaning to talk to this guest. Super excited. I found her through an article on LinkedIn that you guys probably read too. But when I saw that article, I was like, Ashley, you got to come on and really break down Google Ads for me, especially on the iOS side. So we're going to talk all about the intricacies of running Google UAC campaigns, what you need to know, and what some of the limitations of it. She's an ex-Googler, so she knows everything you need to know about Google UAC. So without further ado, let's bring in Ashley into the show. Sorry, I'm looking at the right city. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Nice. It started off strong, and I just started to taper off. Like the momentum just died.
That's good.
Let me give you a proper intro. She's an ex-Googler. She is the founder of Candid Consulting Group, and that is all linked up into your favorite podcast, YouTube description as well. She helps you manage your ads on the Google side of things, and she's got a design team, so she can help you with all of that. So go check it out. It is Candid Consulting Group. And Ashley, I'll just say it if you don't mind. It's called Candid because she's going to tell you straight how to do things. Right. No fluff. I love it.
Yeah, that's what you can expect in working with me. Just get to the,
Ashley, congratulations on going out your own first. I mean,
thank you.
That's an accomplishment.
It wasn't. It wasn't necessarily intentional. It wasn't necessarily intentional. I like to be candid. I like to be honest. That Google was like, "Hey, you got to get back into the office." I had relocated during the pandemic, and I said, "Nah, I'm not interested in coming back 3 days a week." And so we finally said, "Okay, we're going to part ways." And then all of this sort of just like fell in my lap. I talked with a few clients on my exit at Google, and they were like, "We could actually use some help." And so then Candid Consulting came to be.
That's the best way, in my opinion, too. I mean, when I started this journey, I just wanted to learn from people in the space, and people just started asking me for help with my app launch. And then just sort of, I didn't build out thinking like, I want to build an agency. And it just sort of happened naturally too.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. So Google, and you got this great article that you wrote on LinkedIn in particular, Mastering iOS Campaigns with Google. Let's break it down, Ashley. Where do you want to start?
I talked about it a lot on LinkedIn primarily, but I think a lot of people really overlook the video strategy on iOS with Google specifically.
Yep.
So I think the big thing is that I noticed people doing one of two mistakes. One is that they just copy their meta strategy and then try and replicate it with Google. Or they say, okay, this is what worked for us on Android, and we're going to try and replicate that on iOS. And it doesn't work that way, obviously, because they're different platforms, they're different OSs. And so I think one of the things to note here is that on Android, for example, most of the traffic, games are a little bit of an exception to this in some cases, but a lot of the traffic flows through Google Play. Right. And that is not available on iOS, obviously. And so actually the shift in video, like on Android, the video inventory is about 30%. On iOS, it's closer to 60%.
Oh, wow.
And so you really need a strong video strategy if you're going to be running with Google. And then also the other thing I noticed is that people are like, okay, well, we've got these videos that work well on Meta, so we'll just throw them up on Google, and not really taking into account that there's like a lot of different inventory types on YouTube, and also AdMob, right? That's a big portion of Google's traffic. And so, I kind of like liken it to like, would you run a TikTok ad if you were to run a TV campaign? Probably not, right? Like that may not resonate with that kind of audience. And you have to approach it similarly. Like YouTube has a lot of different types of video placements. And even though you can't tell it where to serve, right? I know people complain about that a lot, but you got to make sure that you're there in the event that the system wants to, put you in a certain placement.
So do you recommend starting with, you know, like a certain number of videos, definitely having a 16:9 and a 9:16, the vertical and the horizontal videos? You recommend having all of that?
Oh yeah, you need those. They tell you to have square. If you can't make a square one, that's okay. That's what
Okay,
but
that's
you need portrait and landscape hands down. And then also pay attention to the durations. Like you need a 15-second spot, you need a 30-second spot. And then I know it can be costly, but I've also talked about that. I wrote an article about like some of the other free tools that you can use, but
mm,
you just got to make sure that like when the auction's asking like, hey, anybody got an ad? You're like, yeah, I do, and so you got to make sure that you've got ample coverage in terms of like duration, orientation, and then ultimately like the content itself.
do you have a best practice on like, okay, definitely have one of this, or two of this, and two of that?
I tend to I focus more on like both. I think I like portrait better on iOS, and so I think that one tends to get a little bit more coverage.
That's the horizontal one, right? The one that we're on right now.
Portrait, sorry, is vertical.
Vertical? Okay, I always forget. I always say vertical, horizontal.
Portrait's vertical, landscape is horizontal.
Got
I know
it.
I have to do the hand movements, but yeah, I guess if you were like, okay, tell me exactly, the minimum amount that I need to have, I would do a 15 and a 30 portrait.
Okay. That's it, huh? Funny enough, Ashley, like I couldn't, on Google, we couldn't beat any of the text
I know.
ads. I could never beat the impressions, but the one ad unit that was beating, I was like number two in terms of impressions and like actually performance was a portrait video, a vertical video that we took from somewhere else and we kind of used it and cut it up a little bit, but it was performing pretty well too. And I was like, oh, finally. So I was saying the same thing without obviously talking to you and not knowing anything as much as you do. I was just like, all right, yeah, definitely have a vertical video. That's gonna
Yes.
help. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. That's awesome. And then what about some of the banner ads? Is that something like best practice wise? Hey, definitely have a few banners too from the display network.
Yeah, you need them, but I wouldn't overinvest in creating them, like designing them. Honestly, I've seen a lot of people have like fully designed, with like a really clear CTA and like screenshots and really nice display banners. The stock images always went out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think if you
No
think
text or just
no,
some
nothing.
text?
But
Nothing.
if you think about it, the way that Google creates the ads is that, you put in your text assets, then you add in a display banner or image ad, and they're going to overlay it. So they're like the way that the unit ends up being is like it's you will have text there. It's not like on the image, but it's present with it. So you kind of have coverage, but stock images, hands down, always went out.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. Shamal says, are you taking questions here? Of course. That's what the whole chat is. If you got any questions for Ashley, she's here. She's here for you. She showed up for you. So she's here to answer all your questions. Ashley, it's so funny. Like we did all, like I wish I talked to you sooner. We did all this stuff where we had these great call to actions. We spent a lot of time putting these together. And the one for one of our clients, I looked at it and I was like, it is just literally a banner. Like there's no words on it. It's just a banner with a bunch of movies on it. That's it. And I was just, and it made sense. So like everything you're saying is I'm seeing in practice, but I wish I knew before.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I love it. Cool. The some of the things that I've learned through the years is, I want to talk about campaign setup and then maybe go into the attribution side of things a little bit, is ad groups. And so typically the way we run it, we have one campaign for iOS, and then we have a couple of different ad groups, and we might have like, I know there's no real targeting with Google. And so we'll split up the ad groups into targets, and then we'll write copy like the headlines and the ad text to sort of tell Google's algorithm, hey, we're looking for these type of people. So for instance, if we're looking for moms, we'll just say, hey, this is the number one out for moms and things like that. Is that the right approach, or what would you suggest?
Yeah, exactly. I think the ad groups are meant to sort of define themes for your ads, for your audience. So I think you can absolutely do it that way, where you can say like, okay, hey, I'm going to set up a mom's ad group, and all of the creative in that ad group is going to be about moms and geared toward moms. And then maybe you have another one and it's for dads, and then it's all that. And then you'll start to see like the system picks up, it will favor one over the other, like sometimes you have even distribution, but more times than not, you're going to have like a clear ad group winner. And then what I like to do from there is like iterate based on that. So for example, like I had working with a client, and we kind of did one that was like focused more on the cost of the app, like keeping it really cheap and a lot more affordable in comparison to the alternative. And then once we realized like, oh, okay, that's what people are liking, then it was like, all right, well, how do we expand beyond that? How do I start speaking to the types of people who are concerned with cost?
Oh, I see. Did you split up the different ad groups with the different types of messaging too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
great. I love it.
exactly. Yep.
You have a preferred, I know with Apple search ads, I've shared some content about like, hey, here's my preferred campaign setup, ad group setup. Do you have a preferred campaign and ad group setup?
Yep.
Or is it okay.
So for the campaign, you should always have, one campaign for each country or groups of countries that you're running in, and
Okay.
then for a specific action, right? So, and then obviously it's by OS. So an example would be like if you're targeting obviously the US, and maybe it's a start trial and on Android, let's just say. So that's one campaign. And then maybe on the next campaign, you have it set up where it's targeting, Canada, UK, Australia, like the tier 1 English speaking. And everything else is the same, the start trial. It's just a difference of what countries you're targeting. And so that's how I prefer to structure things in terms of the campaigns. And then I usually have anywhere from 3 to 5 ad groups per campaign.
Nice. And what's the difference between the ad groups? All the messaging, or is
Yeah.
it like demographics too?
I mean, I guess it depends on what I'm looking to experiment with. Like I've got, for example, like more of an education app. And initially we were really testing to see like what subjects were resonating with the users. And now we kind of like, we're like, okay, we see that, but now I'm shifting the strategy a little bit more to say, okay, well, now I'm going to split up my ad groups based on what the kids may be struggling with in education. So like, need help with like exam prep as an example. And so that it's taking things in a little bit of a different direction once I've sort of understood like our initial testing.
I love it. Okay. 3 to 5 ad groups. Anything else?
3 to 5 ad groups. Make sure you've got coverage. Like, okay, I want to clarify. You'll see at the very top where it'll be like, what's your ad strength? I hate that Google calls it ad strength. I used to tell everybody that reported to me, I'm like, stop calling it creative excellence or ad strength to your clients. Call it inventory coverage, because that's what it means.
You know what? That's beautiful. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
And that would give me more like reason. It's just a better way of saying like, oh, I want to listen to you now, Google.
Right. That's what it is. Inventory coverage. All right. So if it's telling you that like, I think it's, minimum of, max of 20 images and 20 videos, I would just say that make sure that, you've got the coverage there. You've got a placement to get a portrait, a landscape, a square video. Again, like if you can't create them all, square's the one that I would cut, but if you can, great. And so within each ad group, make sure that you've got coverage there so that the system has the ability to test them all evenly. I see a lot of times it's only required that you put in text. And so I see a lot of times people will just do the text. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, that just like wasn't an accurate test of the campaign then.
I see.
Yeah.
And definitely having at least a video. I mean, that's where I think we suffered from, because we just went with text and then we tried to run it. We tried doing SEM keyword side and taking them using a custom product page, Ashley, to see if that would work. No? Okay.
Stop doing that. Everybody talks about that. They're like, okay, we're going to just run it to like on the search side or a display campaign.
Yeah.
It's never going to perform as well as UAC.
Oh, really? Okay. And then we did try a UAC, but it was only text. And now after this, I'm like, okay, we got to do better.
Yeah. Just as a heads up, you need some high bids to start getting out of the text inventory.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's get into maybe the campaign setup. I know on Facebook, people tend to like do first opens and go for the installs. Do you have a preferred way of doing? And I think that's at a campaign level, right, Ashley? Like
at a campaign level, right?
You like to go with start trial right immediately?
On iOS, no.
Okay.
On iOS, I typically, unless you've got some like massive budgets that you can play around with, then it's okay to go toward like a start trial or, a deeper funnel action. If you're more cost conservative, start with installs.
Okay.
Right? Because you're going to get like so little data back anyway. If we're talking about scan, you're just going to get a bunch of nulls. And so, unless you're meeting that threshold on Android, honestly, you can run a TROAS campaign from day one if you want to. If you're set up again, like your budgets have to be a little bit higher than if you were to run an install campaign, but you don't need to like phase in to the different types of bid types.
And do you, okay, I love that. For iOS, do you have like a CPA goal that you like to put in, or do you just say, hey, okay, get me some installs? Okay.
No, never. You guys,
Very
please.
good.
So it's funny because I've been running some meta campaigns for my clients, and I was like, God, they're not scaling. Like I can't get them up and running. I met with a friend, and he was like, oh, take off the bid cap so that it can get some. Okay, no. On Google, if you take off the bid cap, like I mean, the CPIs are going to be so high, you guys. And it's just going to spend your money like crazy. So I always have a bid.
Okay.
Always.
Do you have a preferred bid? Because I feel like
yeah.
sometimes you go too low and doesn't scale at all. No spend.
I think it depends. If you're targeting what I normally see on iOS for US campaigns, you're going to want somewhere, I'd say like $3.50 to $4. Like it can be expensive, and then sort of like optimize and try and lower it from there. On Android, I would say you can start at like $1.50.
Got it. But on Android, you can just start with the TROAS campaign.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then how long do you give it on the iOS?
And it depends on how much it spends. That's one thing I pay attention to a lot. Is like, okay, well, how many impressions did we really get? It's not I mean, like if you're only spending $100 a day, it's not an adequate test for me after a month.
Okay.
Right. I need to be like, the system has to have enough information to make some decisions based on and like actually do something with. And so, it's not necessarily like as easy as saying, okay, 30 days. It depends on how much you're spending.
How much do you try to spend for it to feel like, okay, I've got enough, and then maybe I can make some adjustments, turn it into a ROAS campaign, or not turn it into
I actually look at it a little bit more on impressions.
Okay.
So I make adjustments a lot of times. Like if something has probably anywhere from like 2,000 to 5,000 impressions, which isn't a ton, but it's enough. Usually it's enough data for me to say like, hey, how is this ad working? And do I need to make some modifications to it?
I love it. Okay.
Okay. I look at
I think again, I'm going to plug your stuff because this is amazing. I'm taking so much notes. All right. Again, it is Candid Consulting Group.
There we are. Yes.
All right. Ashley's, she knows her stuff, obviously. And I'm asking a lot of questions just from our experience too. Okay, Ashley, after you hit your numbers, you're like, okay, I'm feeling good about this. Mm-hmm. Do you move to TROAS? Do you go for a start trial? Like, what do you?
It depends on what you're looking to do, right? Like all of my clients they have different goals. Some of them are focused on profitability. And so then, we would likely shift to TROAS. Others are like, let's just grow. You got to be cautious, just like anywhere else. Like you can't just grow all of a sudden. It takes time, and you need to do it carefully. If you're like, oh, well, it's been performing really well for us, let's, unleash the budgets. You got to take it slow. Okay. Google doesn't like it when you explode on things. So slowly start to increase your budget, slowly start to increase your bids, and see how it performs. Because a lot of times, like it's like any other platform. You can't necessarily maintain the performance and at scale.
Yeah, I know. Clients are always like, okay, that's great. Let's spend more on that rate. I'm like, everything's going to go up then.
Yeah, it's not going to work that way. So I always like, set expectations. Are you going to be okay? Like I can get you more, but it's going to become more expensive for you.
Right. Do you have you said $100 daily budget. Do you have a minimum budget that you like to just put a little bit on it?
I mean, like on Android, you can start with a lot less. Right. And so, sure, that's fine. By the way, like $100 is just going to take you a lot longer to figure things out at $100 a day. I don't want to discourage people from running with Google at that amount, but like it's going to take a while. As opposed to if you're like entering the market and you're like, okay, I got $3,000 a day and I'm going to test it out, then that's fine too if you're comfortable spending those amounts.
What do you like to set it up as?
I usually like if somebody comes to me and they're like, hey, what do you want? For iOS, I usually say about $500 a day is adequate for me to start testing. And then on Android, I can do it more at like 2 to 3.
Jeez, this is crazy.
Sorry,
500.
this
Let me
is
do
too
some crazy
expensive.
math. I don't know. I'm cheap though. Okay, so you're talking to the wrong guy. I'm like, oh, what? Let
As
me
am
do
I, as am I. And so I'm always like cautioning people. I'm like, oh, things are getting expensive. Are you okay with that? And they're like,
Yeah.
it's okay. I'm like, okay, I don't know.
For those who can't do math like me, and I literally use my calculator, $500 a day is about $15,000 a
That's right.
month. So,
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to cover on here? Because there's a lot of questions here.
Let's
I
go
want
to
to
the
get into. All
questions.
right. Do you want to say hi to a few people? Nerex, good to see you. I am
Okay.
back. Thank you. Hope you guys missed me. I tried to take a week off. Let them miss me a little bit. Let them miss us. All right. What's up, Patrick? What's up, Mohammed? Luis? Josh. Good to see you, Josh. Finally made it. And then Kevin's here as well. Heed says, for a UAC campaign, I try to add an in-app action like trials from Firebase Analytics, but not conversion is tracked. Though I can see the events in Firebase console, but strangely, app install works. I don't know if you run into that issue.
Yep.
Okay.
I have.
I love it, actually.
It could be a number of things, right? Like without looking at it, maybe it's not set up correctly, or you're not importing the conversions correctly. But I'm going to assume you've done your due diligence.
Mhm.
Here's one thing that and this was a learning for me. It happened probably the last few months that I was at Google. And it doesn't happen all the time, so I don't want people to be scared that this is what's going on. But what was happening is that, as you guys know, or hopefully know, on iOS, Google models a lot of their conversions, right? That's why people don't like it, but that's what they do. They model them out. And a lot of times people were saying, well, like, I see that the Google campaign is driving, let's say, the start trial event in my analytics, in my MMP or in Firebase. But when I go into the Google Ads UI, it's saying that there's nothing there. The issue is that Google has to have a certain confidence level to model those conversions. So if it doesn't feel like we know enough that like we can take credit for that conversion, it just won't show it. And I know it seems kind of weird. You would think that Google would be like, I mean, a lot of times people are like, no, Google's numbers are inflated in comparison to our MMP. But we did have a number of cases, specifically on iOS, where the events were just missing on the GAds interface because Google didn't have a high enough confidence to model conversions.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that was your
Yeah.
issue, but that's some insight.
That's crazy. I love it. Okay. AI chat says, hey guys, I have a question. I've tried multiple video assets in UAC for both iOS and Android, but those video assets do not get many impressions. How do we get more impressions on video assets?
Man, I struggle too, guys. I told you the bids got to be high. If you're just running on an installs campaign, I think it's really hard to get video traffic. If your bids are higher because you're bidding toward like a deeper funnel action, right? Like an event or a purchase or something like that. That's when I start to see the videos get more traction. Just as a tip for all of you guys, it only applies for those of you that have a Google rep, but you can actually request for them to turn on something on the back end, which is called a video only campaign. So it basically suppresses all of the other assets and it only runs on video. So that's a good way for you to see, like, what has the ability to perform.
We only bring the best here. Thank you, Ashley. That was amazing.
You're welcome.
I love the answer. Look, it says, is it okay to create two different campaigns with exactly same keywords but different match type, like campaign A, exact match? So this is more of an SEM question.
That's a search question.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's not my area of expertise. I spent 6 years doing apps, so I'm sure there's other people more qualified to answer that question. I'm not going to take it.
Hey, it's in the name. She's candid. All right.
Yeah.
She's telling you. I love it, Ashley. We're in line. I'm like, bro, I don't know. Like, I don't know everything.
Yeah, that's not me.
How has YouTube premium subs affected reach among affluent audiences with the addition of sports and premium subs? I feel like retention quality has declined. That's
fair. That's a very interesting question. I don't know if I've seen a correlation necessarily with that. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. It hadn't really come up that much. I mean, you got to remember, there's a lot of users. So
Yeah.
I would have a feeling that it probably didn't impact it that much. Um, but I would probably look for other reasons why you're seeing a decline in quality of users. I wouldn't jump to the premium stuff first.
I agree. FF Swarm, hello. And then I don't know if you have an opinion on Performance Max. I think that's an SEM campaign only type of thing too, but I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
it's basically UAC for the website of things.
Oh,
And
okay.
a lot of people, I think, are seeing really good success with it. It's kind of similar. Like everybody got really, worked up when UAC became UAC, right? Where they didn't have the ability to control where they, did their placements and audiences and stuff. And ultimately, I mean, Google's app revenue really increased as a result of it. Like that business really boomed.
Mm,
And it does perform better than trying to manage things on your own. And I think Performance Max is, following the same narrative.
I love it. Okay. I'm going to skip to Pre's question. What's a good impression to download ratio? Do you look at that, or do you look at some other click-through rate ratio? Or
No, I don't pay attention to click-through rate
okay.
really, just because it can vary so much, right? Like I basically just pay attention to whatever action we're trying to drive. The impression to download, when I was with Google, a lot of the game developers they focused on IPMs a lot, the impressions per milli. I mean, I think that's if you're going to compare like assets with each other, like all of the headlines and see how those are performing and all of the descriptions and see how those are performing in terms of IPM, that's okay. You can think of it that way, but you cannot go through and say like, okay, how does this text asset versus this display banner IPM perform? I mean, the display will always look horrendous, but the cost is, it's relative. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers their question, but it's not as easy as, I can't give you a one-word answer on that one.
Here's one, Ashley. I'm sure you got a ton of times. Okay, here we go. How do you scale UAC campaigns if a higher bid results in a worse ROI?
Oof. I know.
I get this too. That's why I'm like, I get it all the time. I hate it, but yeah.
Um, okay, some tips here. Like if you want to start scaling the UAC campaigns without necessarily having to toggle the bid as much, start adding in like fresher ad groups. A lot of times I'll see that this will sort of like kick the system into being like, oh, we need to go figure something else out. And a lot of times when I launch new ad groups for whatever reason, they perform really well initially, at least for like the first couple weeks. And then they follow suit. Well, I don't know if it's because the frequency is the ad frequency is like increasing or the ads get fatigued and then they start to decline. But I would say if you're having trouble there, launch another ad group or two and see if that helps.
I love that. That's interesting. Do you ever pause ad groups? So like if it's not performing, you just pause them all the time? Or
Yeah, if like a lot of times I'll take whatever is working within that ad group. Like if there's something that what could scale and is the performance is good, I'll take that particular asset and then move it into a new one. And then and then just launch the new one so that it has some freshness to it.
I love that. I didn't think you'd have an answer, Ashley, because I never have an answer. When people ask me, I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, add another country. I don't
Maybe that could work too. But yeah, I've been actually working with I have a campaign manager working with me recently, and I've been talking to her about it. And that was one of the things. It's like, let's just launch something new. See, see if that breath of fresh air helps it a little bit.
Oh, I love it. That's cool. So you increase the budget a little bit, and then you add a whole new ad group.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to scale it. Okay.
Or I mean, you don't even. Well, I guess if they're trying to scale it, yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Juan says, "Hey Steve, nice to hear you again. Good to see you here, Juan." So he says, "Should I target one country or global?"
Typically, well, it depends on your metrics, right? You got to know how much users are worth to you in different markets. So I think most people do want like the US as a standalone because it tends to have like the highest value users. And then they do groupings of other countries, other like countries that monetize similarly and then have the same paybacks.
Yep. Well, we talked about this AI chat, so just hit rewind. Unless
Yeah.
Ashley, you go on so to add more. But another question: installs or in-app actions, UAC for iOS apps. Start
You've
with
got,
installs.
yep.
Let me see how well I did
Yeah.
from taking notes. Okay, this is Ashley's words. Okay, this is not my tip. Okay, she should get all the credit for this. So start with the iOS campaign for installs. Monitor the impressions, 2 to 5,000, and then you can then slowly start shifting to a ROAS or an in-app action.
Yeah. No ROAS on iOS yet.
Okay.
I think it's a beta right now, but I don't know how well it's going. But you gotta, if you're gonna do in-app actions, make sure you've got enough money to spend.
Okay. Got it. Love it. Okay. I think we're good. All right. Yeah. I get this question all the time too. Nurik says, is there any way we can choose only promotion on YouTube? But you said, yeah, you can, but you gotta know somebody.
You
Know
gotta
Ashley.
have somebody. Yeah. Sorry, guys. That's how it works.
I love it. I love it. And then Yvonne says, I love your shirt. See, but hey, Yvonne, trying to represent, but I bought this shirt. I had to buy a bigger one, Ashley, because these shrink. They're just a cheap shirt that I got from like one of those stores. But yeah, I thought I'd represent.
I like
Okay,
it.
cool. Let me see if there's any further questions that we can go through. Josh says, is there any data showing if Mac apps versus iOS apps perform better in ad campaigns? I don't know if you've ever done a Mac app.
What's a Mac app?
Well, it's one of the, just the app on the Mac. And they're not that popular, but there's a Mac app store. My team was even saying, hey, we should do ASO for a Mac app store. And I'm like, really? I didn't think it was that big of a deal because I never search for apps on the Mac right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Stick with iOS apps.
Josh, I wasn't going to even ask it. Okay. I was like, what kind of question? No, I'm just kidding, Josh. I knew Josh. But here, this is I have the Mac App Store pulled up. This is it.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's what he's asking for, but I could be wrong.
But it's on desktop?
Yeah, it's on desktop. So it's a Mac app
It might not even work with UAC. Like you might not be able to run traffic to it.
Yeah.
That question has never come up for me.
It's come up for me, but I'm like, I have no idea, dude. And that's what I say.
I can't imagine that many people are using that. Just stick with the App Store.
What about iPad, Ashley, on that?
Yeah.
Note? Okay.
Yeah, that works. I mean, the thing that sucks is that you can't really anti-target iPad users or the reverse, right? With UAC. And so that's one downside. But yeah, I mean, it does perform well. Certain categories perform well on iPad. You can see it, by the way, the breakdown in Google Ads. There's, I forget what section you go to, but there's a part that shows devices, and then you can actually see how it's serving.
It's like you read my mind because I wanted to go to that next because I wondered if because sometimes we'll change that bid around. Now I'll show you guys a visual because I always like visuals. But do you ever change the bids around for desktop versus tablets versus mobile devices?
I have to be honest. I don't know if it actually works to do that. Yeah. And I say this because a lot of the features in Google Ads are not built for app campaigns, but it's the same UI, whether you're running app campaigns or like a search campaign. Right. And so I have played with that a little bit to see like, oh, what if I, what's it called? Like a bidded adjustment, right? Yeah. If I want to bid up on iPad versus, bid down on mobile, vice versa. And I think it will let you do it. Like, I think the system will let you save it, but I don't actually know if it goes into effect.
I think most of from what I've seen that I'll pull up are, man, it's like sometimes I'm like, you're sharing so, let me see. I don't want to share everything. You know what I mean?
No, the reason why I say this is that I tried one time for a client. I was really excited. Their app does not do well on the weekends. And I was like, let's pause on the weekends. And it lets me save it. Like in the system, it will let me do day parting, but it doesn't work. Like when I go back to the campaign, it's still serving on the weekends. And so that's why I say, like, yes, you can make bid adjustments. Like it will save it for you, but I don't know if it's actually doing what it's supposed to.
So this is where you would find it. When and where the ad show, you got to go to devices, and then you can make bid adjustments here.
Yeah. Right? I don't know if you can do bid adjustments at that level. You might have to go into
ad group level.
No, there's another place where I forget. If you do the search bar and you type in like bid adjustments, maybe it'll let you. But
really?
Yeah. Where is
Was
it?
this the place you were talking about too, Ashley? Like,
Yeah, that's
okay,
exactly what
good.
I'm
All
talking about.
right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I think
yeah.
this is where I was on the ad group or the campaign level, and then you can, so like we've done, you're gonna hate me,
Yeah.
but what sometimes we'll do, computers and bid adjustments, and I don't want to show on
No,
desktop,
there
so
it
we'll
is. Yeah.
decrease it by 100%, and then we'll
Mhm.
do that. We've done it that way too, so that we can focus more on the tablets. And most of the time, the impression goes on the mobile phones, anyways. I mean, it feels like all the searches, everything is happening on phones, anyways. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I mean, it shouldn't be serving on computers though.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I mean, typically it doesn't, but
yeah.
we've only made this adjustments in an SEM campaign, so we did
Okay.
try to do.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is it works for search,
Yeah,
but and like I said, it might save it, but I don't actually know if it's doing what it should be doing.
I see. I
So,
like it.
sorry.
All right. Yeah, that's good. I
Oh,
wonder if you have an opinion on this. Gang
yes.
says, sorry for being late. May I know that with limited budget, should I start with UAC or Apple search ads?
Oh, with a limited budget. I was thinking
Yeah.
about limited budgets on Google Ads, which I have a big opinion, and I wrote an
Oh,
article about
okay.
that too.
Okay. I'll put that up too.
But with limited budgets, focus on UAC. My take on Apple search ads is like it's sort of like branded search, where it's likely going to be the people who were kind of looking for you anyway.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like with UAC, you're probably getting like audiences that are more in discovery mode. That's how I think of it. So
Yeah.
of course, I'm going to say UAC on this one. I'll leave it at that. UAC.
I like it. Okay. What was the other thing I want to talk about before I move to the limited by budget? Okay, maybe I'll think about it. Well, I do know, but it's a whole nother topic. So let's talk about the limited budget. Here's the other article, and I've pulled it up already, and I've zoomed in for you guys as well. All right. How does limited by budget? Because I see this routinely too. I'm always
Yeah.
afraid, Ashley. Sometimes it's like triple the budget. I'm like, ah.
I know. I see that too. I think it's just important to understand what it could potentially be doing to your campaigns. Yeah, you might be serving on crappy traffic if you're
Mm,
at times. At times.
mm.
So, if you guys haven't read the article, I'll give you the TLDR here, although it's not that short. So with
You got time.
limited by budget, what happens is like the campaign will start off and it's like, ooh, let's say it's $1,000 a day. And it's like, we've got $1,000 to spend today. And it's 12 a.m. And it's like, woohoo, let's go. And it's spending. And it's like, oh crap. Like now I realize I don't have money to spend the whole day. So I gotta bring it down. So it drops it. And by bringing down the cost, typically you'll start to see that like your inventory, like the bids drop too. And so you're getting crappy inventory.
Oh,
And then it's like, oh, hey, we still have a little bit of budget left for the rest of the day. Bring it back up, bring it back up. And so that's why, if you're not limited by budget, you're able to have a lot more consistency throughout the day on your spend levels and hopefully your bid too. You're competitive throughout the day. Whereas and it's not for everybody. I would encourage you guys, all of this data is available in your Google Ads UI, to pull these metrics and see like, hey, am I seeing that like spend goes crazy and then my CPMs are dropping at a certain point? And typically if your CPMs are dropping, a lower CPM usually means worse traffic. So
this is interesting. I love it.
yeah.
So you don't want to be limited by budget then?
You don't want to, but sometimes you have to be. I think I got a question on this and somebody was like, okay, well then, should I just increase it even if it's not hitting my target CPA? No, I think that you should always, the campaign should still be focused toward whatever goal you have. This was an example, I think, of something that didn't have limited by budget.
I really like the chart too. It hits home. I'm like, oh, I get it. When you said, hey, it's limited by budget, so it's going to get crappier traffic, and then maybe the performance suffers, and then you go, you sort of said that the whole graph, and then here's one
where this one's like you can see the average CPM here. That's the line. It is much more consistent throughout the day, and it also sort of matches how the cost is flowing. Whereas the other one, you're seeing like the CPM at different hours of the day take this like big plummet and then come back up, which I wouldn't want to do. I wouldn't want to.
Can you see a chart like this within the ads platform?
Oh no, you got to pull the data yourself and
geez,
do it all.
Oh,
I enjoy doing that stuff. So, yeah.
I love it. This is great. Thank you so much, Ashley. Okay,
Sure.
there's one thing that I did want to ask was, have you ever done SEM traffic to a landing page? Then that takes that, because one of my previous guests, he said, hey, yeah, what's working well is SEM, UAC, ASO, SEO, all that stuff. And he's like, he's using SEM traffic, so keyword traffic, to take him to, it's like a web to app campaign, but it's through keywords. So that's what we try to mimic. It was like, hey, and this is when we did the whole like no devices stuff, because we wanted people on the phone, but we would take them to bid on a keyword, take them to a landing page. That landing page then took them to directly to the app store. Have you done anything like that?
I haven't, because I don't encourage it.
Okay.
I know a lot of other people do test with this. Technically, your app campaigns should be getting that coverage already.
Yeah.
So if you're simultaneously running a UAC campaign and trying this search strategy, there's a good chance that you're like cannibalizing yourself because you're competing for the same traffic. And like I said, like search is already included in UAC. So you don't really need to be there to do it. I mean, it has its merits. Just by and large, I mean, I think people have not seen it perform as well as app campaigns.
Right.
Like initially, but long term and scaling, no.
We couldn't make it work either. I was like, this is not working. And after the guest told me about it, I was like, okay, let me try it. But it just did not work out for us at all.
Yeah.
We're trying Google UAC again for our app. And I was like, you know what? I'm pausing this. After I talked to Ashley, I need a video. I'm pausing this. I'm telling my team, no, we're pausing all of this. And we're going to try it one more time.
Yeah.
Again.
Happy to help.
Yeah, thanks. We had one client that was, doing really well, 6 figures a month on the App Store. UAC was his primary channel. So I know it works. I'm like, I know this works. I got to figure this out. I don't know what I don't know right now. I'm doing it for our own app right now.
Okay. Yeah. You got to give it time too. I think that was another big thing. It was actually a really big push for us internally at Google to try and get people to test with Google, like, especially if you had a soft launch of an app and we were like, test with us. However, it takes a long time. So a lot of times Meta will pick up really fast and you can get results within like 2 weeks and be able to use that and say, okay, this is how it's going to perform. With Google, it can be a month longer to be able to see things. And actually, I have one client right now. We've been running for 2 months, and budgets are super low. And I'm just now starting to see the system figure things out. And the CPI going down. It was on iOS. It's always been like above $4. And I'm like, oh God, I'm trying to get it to closer to 2. And just a couple days ago, have I seen it consistently delivering like in the high 2s.
Nice. Nice. What adjustments did you make? Just the ad group stuff or?
Ad group stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
We've done some bids and that hasn't actually really helped. It's all been on the creative. So I'm trying to think, we just expanded, I forget what the new strategy was, like the new theme for the ad group, but just trying to test some of that stuff in. And actually, funny enough, they spent a lot of time creating assets, like video assets. They haven't scaled. What's performed the best are stock images.
Stock images. Well, we have some stock images. We don't have no videos though. So I was like, you know what? Let me do the video stuff. Let me pause everything. Let me just do it right this time and see how it goes. Actually, I asked what's considered a small budget? Is it like under $10,000 a month, 5 to 10? Like, is there a range you can give without giving specific?
Yeah. Theirs is set at about $15,000 a month, but it's only spending like $2,000 a month.
Okay.
That's the other problem, is like it's been really hard to scale it. So yeah.
Okay. Ooh, let me see. When the UAC campaigns are limited by budget, can we reduce the bids to counter it?
I mean, you can, but then you're going to be getting worse traffic. So
yeah, look at the chart. Let me pull it
Yeah.
up again. Just giving the
Yeah.
official.
I mean, I understand that that's one way to do it, but like you have to also understand that when you reduce your bid, that means that you're not as competitive in all of the auctions that are taking place. Or you're suddenly like, and you can't enter other auctions that maybe were performing well for you. So I would say that if you're going to reduce the bid, you can expect, yes, your scale will go down significantly, but it's possible that the quality will too.
Okay. Jason says, Ashley, can you expand on the lower CPM meaning worse, less qualified traffic?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just something that I observe in my time is that when
This
you
is
have
pretty good, Jason. Come on.
um, with a real like, let's say you have like a $2 CPM or something like that, which is low. You're probably like on some crappy site, you know, like somebody who's willing to accept on their in their app or on their website or whatever is willing to accept a $2 CPM. You have to
Mm,
understand like how all the mechanics tie together, right? Like it's the publishers who basically set the floor for like, hey, I'm willing to take an ad placement, you know, as long as it meets, you know, this CPM, right? I only want to have a $30 CPM as an example. And so a lot of times the worst traffic will say, oh, I'll take whatever. I'll take a $2 CPM. Whereas sometimes the more premium traffic will say, no, we know that we've got good stuff. And so if you want to come over here and show an ad, then we're going to charge a $70 CPM in order for you to play on our site. You
I
know?
like it. I like it. Hey, Ashley, I want to talk about attribution before because it's almost an hour. Can you believe it? Like it
Okay,
went pretty fast. The attribution side of things. Now, I was doing a panel at MAU in 2023, and we were interviewing a lot of the bigger game publishers. And somebody was like, "Hey, what's the best attribution? What do you feel like is the best attribution to tie in the iOS installs, the trials to Google UAC?"
I if you're running on multiple platforms, I would say scan.
Okay.
Uh, so that's yeah, I was always like a really strong advocate for that at Google too. I don't think they liked it so much because I was like, that's just what it is, you know. Like if you're a smart marketer, you don't necessarily take Google's word for for these things. But if you're only running with Google, which some people do, then I think, and by the way, we're only talking about iOS, obviously, then I think it's okay to look at Google primarily.
Mm,
Just because like you can kind of figure out where maybe there's inflation on Google's side without having to look into scan. So multiple networks, you got to use scan. If you're just using one, then maybe you're okay to just stick with the platform if it's self-attributing, you know.
okay. Got it. And it's Firebase. They're saying Firebase. They use Firebase. You
Oh,
know
they use
that
Firebase.
yeah, they were saying that, and I would love your opinion on this. They were like, hey, yeah, Firebase. We use Firebase instead of even an MMP as
Uh-huh.
an example because they felt like it was a better, I don't know, it was a better optimization tactic. And I was like, actually, they even said, she said it, she's like, everybody should know this, but it is Firebase. I'm like, I didn't know that. Like, so I'd love your opinion on that.
Yeah. Okay. So if you guys aren't familiar, Firebase is basically like it's a developer tool, but there's the SDK that you add into your app, and it allows you can bid on Firebase events, right? A lot of people bid on their MMPs events. I do feel pretty strongly that if you're going to be running on Android, you should absolutely be running on Firebase events.
Okay.
It's just been proven true time and time again that Google's Android campaigns will perform better if you're bidding on Firebase than if you're bidding on an MMP. Okay, so
Got it.
that's my take there. And trust me, your Google rep will be pushing it. That we're gold, for a long time we were gold against it, right? To try and
Uh-huh.
get developers on it. On iOS, I it doesn't have the same lift in performance bidding on Firebase events
I
yet.
see.
So I don't really care where people if they bid on an MMP. Instead of Firebase for iOS, that will change in the future, but for right now, it's probably fine. And yeah, you can use Firebase for attribution. I think
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay. That's what we have. We don't have an MMP yet. So
Yeah.
I'm just talking about our own apps.
Yeah. And
Selfish.
the interface is awful, but you can it serves its purpose.
I do like that we have a lot of stock photos in our campaign. I'm looking at our campaign
You're
setup
like
right now.
auditing yourself right now. You're like,
Yeah, exactly. This is perfect. All right, let's see. We're getting good on time. How are you on time? Do you have the hard stop at 10? Because then
no.
I go straight to the audits, or because I know
No,
you
I
prepared
mean,
a little bit.
whenever you're ready. I want to make sure we do talk about the audit so that people,
Yeah,
get their
yeah.
airtime. But I'm happy to take a few more questions.
Because there's a few. Okay, all right. AI chat says, any less known hacks that increase performance of UAC? Smiley face emoji.
Oh, um, I'm trying to think about like what's considered a hack that increased performance. Oh, I'm trying to like some of these things seem obvious to me, but I realize they might be hacky to other people.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I pay a lot of attention to and other people don't seem to pay attention to it is where the inventory is serving. So you can do the cut in Google Ads if you do segment, and then you can pick the segment by network. My team at Google was probably like sick of me talking about this so much, but when you do that, you can see what percentage of your traffic is searching or serving on search, display, and YouTube. And so I tend to use that as a lot of guidance on like what type of traffic we're getting, and like the quality of traffic that we're getting a lot of times. And also like why one campaign or ad group might be performing better than another. I just did this audit for another client of mine. I don't know if he's here. Hi, Dan, if you're here. And he was like, God, why is this one, like we determined that one ad group was just like not performing very well. And it was like, oh, it's because it's actually serving a ton on display. Whereas all the other ad groups, for whatever reason, were getting traffic from like search and YouTube. And so we kind of had to switch it up a little bit. And we were like, well, we're going to actually just pause that whole ad group because that's the reason why the performance has been crappy. So that's the one I use a lot. And also your Google Ads rep, if you ask them if they're savvy enough, can actually show you deeper cuts. So like, it's not just YouTube, but it'll show you like what percentage of your inventory is serving on shorts versus the homepage versus Google Play, which people love to see, versus AdMob versus MGDN, all that other stuff. So if you've got a good Google rep, they can help you with that.
I see. Trying to pull up where we might be able to see it.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the campaigns tab.
Okay.
And then you just like above that, there should be a segment and you can select.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see. And then you do conversions, network. Oh, got it.
Network, okay, yeah.
Here. I'll try to show you guys here. This is our campaign. We spent about $1,600. We turned it off for now, but now I'm going back, doing everything. But here's where it was showing. So we're getting a lot of the spend was on search, which I mean, honestly, that's what we wanted.
Well, and
we didn't have any videos too.
Search can also include Google Play.
Okay.
Right. So it's not just Google search. It can also be like searches in Play. So,
even on an iOS app?
Oh no.
Okay.
No. Oh, is this just iOS?
Yeah, this is just iOS.
But no, no, not that. But on Android, it would include that. So that's what I mean. Like if you've got a Google rep and like this is intriguing to you, or for whatever reason you want to cut into this a little bit more, you can kind of see it broken out in a lot more detail.
I see. It's interesting. Wow, Display Network was doing pretty well from.
See, now you're going to dig into this. You're going to spend a lot of time. You can do it by asset too. So I think a lot of times people assume that it's a text asset, so it's serving on search. That's not the case. It can be serving on display or YouTube as well. So that's the kind of stuff I actually spend a decent amount of time looking at it by network.
Oh, interesting. Are there isn't there a, let me see if I can show you one more thing. Isn't there, okay, this is in the other campaign. See, obviously we only had text actually. So
rookie.
Sorry. Google, give me another promotion. Like, let's put that in the air. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this work. They're like, here's $1,500 or $1,000, I forget, but you have to spend $1,500. And I was like, perfect, let's go. Google, please give me one more.
Yeah. Sorry. If anybody hears from Google, see if you can get Steve a
Hey,
credit.
come on. It's with David. All right. Let's get into that app audit side of things. I know people have some questions that I'll try to get to if Ashley has a bit more time, but you guys submitted it. So, Ashley, we like to start off every app audit with some jokes. Loud. I thought we changed this. I gotta tell my team. It's not you. I thought we changed this. This is the video. That video is too loud. We got to change that, man. All right. Ashley, since you're the guest, you get to decide whether you want to go first or you want to go second in this critical. This is the most important segment of the entire show.
I know.
Yeah, we're playing for, we usually play for drinks or coffee, whatever, lunch, whatever you want. So that's a lot's on the line for this.
Okay, you go first.
I go first? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the one that I like. I got a few. I like this one. Okay. Ashley, let me make sure I'm ready. Ready. Okay. Ashley, I was addicted to the hokey pokey, but I turned myself around.
I love it.
Right. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
You're just reminding me now. I don't think I've introduced my kids to the hokey pokey.
Hokey pokey. You turn yourself around.
We have something to do tonight.
I love it.
Okay. Okay, are you ready?
I am.
As I mentioned, it's not a dad joke. It's a joke about dads.
I love that even more.
We'll see if you can relate. All right. What do dads say is the optimal AC temperature?
What?
Wrong. Open a window.
Yes. That is me.
The typical dad. My dad somehow knew anytime the thermostat was adjusted. And now my husband's the same way. He's just
oh my God.
every other dad's footsteps.
I'm like, go put a sweatshirt on. It's cold and go put a sweatshirt on.
And I'm over here just cranking left and right, just trying to get it right.
I'm more strict about the heat versus the AC, but yeah, I'm like, go put a sweatshirt on. Because I can't stand the heat. Like if I'm too hot, then I get so cranky. So I'm like, go ahead, blast that thing.
I feel you.
All right, let's get into. So put S if you thought my joke was better, and put A if you thought Ashley's joke was better into the comments. All right, and Dave, be objective here. Okay. All right. I don't even know if he's here. All right, we got Garrett's app. He wants keyword and monetization. Anything here?
Okay. All right. So this is the talk or not mystery fun chat. Okay. My main takeaway was not so much on the like the way that you're presenting the app. So Steve, I don't know if we talked about this, but in addition to being sort of the iOS expert when I was at Google, I was also the policy person. And when I saw this, I was like, oh God, this is going to be a policy nightmare. The Play Store has its own policies, right? And that can be a challenge. But on the ad side of things, chat apps they send off a big red flag. And the reason being is like, there's just been so many bad actors out there that like have, the content has like pornography. And to be honest, when I was looking at this, yours could kind of like, I know that it's not saying that, but like certainly somebody could be like, oh, this is going to be risque. And so I'm just warning you here that this type of app is likely going to be plagued with lots of policy violations if you do try and run Google ads for it.
I see. Interesting.
So
yeah, an app like this, Garrett, too, on the keyword side of things, there's just not going to be a lot of, Meet You People is a search term that has some decent volume. And so you might want to get into that. But yeah, like this feels more like an ad play than like an ASO play here. But yeah. Was this the app that you had a lot of feedback on, or is it the other one?
I have feedback on both of them, but this one in particular, like, I mean, if it's just, I think, really hard, and Google understands that, for you to moderate the type of users and the content that's being shared on the app. Yep. And ultimately, like, Google gets punished for it, right? Like they definitely are the ones that like take the heat when these types of things make any sort of like, news outlets or anything like that. If they're like, Google was advertising this app that, was like baiting children or something. And I'm, by the way, Garrett, I'm not saying that was what you're doing, but those things exist. And so I think Google's just really scared for them to happen again. So I'm just giving you a warning there.
Yeah. Hey, he's here. Got it. Scary, but informative. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's an app for those who are just listening or just watching. It is an app that allows you to meet and chat with different people from all over the world. And so if you're feeling lonely, you can sort of talk to strangers in a way. All right. Yeah. And the keyword side, Garrett, you want to maybe even go after meet new people. Lonely is a keyword that has decent traffic. It's not super high. It's around 20-ish in there, but meet new people, most interesting one of that has the highest volume, but it also might have the most difficulty there too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into the app itself and help them out on the monetization sides. Talk or not? I mean, don't we want to talk? I mean, is the whole app to start talking? So what's the not part, Garrett? Just curious.
Maybe people get to decide if they want to talk to the person or not.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
Creative fun. You know, I'm signed up for all these apps now. So good.
I can't wait to see what kind of ads.
I need a nickname. So it's like if you see, I don't know, Mason, I don't know, Benoit, then that is me.
That's
Where are
you.
you from? Italy. How about that? I'll give my real age and then male. Seeking, I don't, nobody. Male, I guess. Talk friends there.
Okay.
Headshot. I got to do a headshot. I think the UI needs work, Garrett. I mean,
yeah, I'm not sure why you're using colors to represent different options here.
Yeah.
Like I think you could do a drop down instead, or yeah.
Text. Yeah. It's kind of weird too. Because I didn't know what the colors were for. Like if I'm just looking at this without really reading it, and the text is a little bit hard to read too. So
I thought you were picking the color of this. Like I think of them as Post-it notes in the previous screen. You know what I mean? Like it looks like you're taking off a Post-it one at a time. That's what I thought you were picking what color Post-it you wanted to be before I looked in.
Give you access to. I have my buddy. Oh, where's my guy? Where's my dude for my photo, my profile photo? I always have
Thanks,
Brad Pitt.
Nice to see you.
Super. Okay. You know Erica?
Erica and I worked together at Google for a long time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. She's here. Oops. That's Patrick. You won, by the way. All right. You won. It was A, Patrick, A as well. Okay. Let me upload some random stock photo. Okay. Jeez. It's a lot of
Okay. Yeah. It's a lot of onboarding.
Yep. All right. I don't think you guys see my password. Password 123. Oh, easy.
Match.
Okay.
Always allow. Like if you're in the industry.
I know. I feel bad.
Do us all a favor and just allow it. We didn't even talk about that, by the way.
Oh yeah. What do you? Yeah, the ATT prompt for those who are just listening. We saw the ATT prompt. Ashley's like, allow it, and I did just allow it. But yeah, what did you want to talk about with the ATT prompt?
If you're gonna have an iOS app, I hope this is a no-brainer for folks, but it's okay if it's not. You have to have the ATT prompt. Your campaigns will perform significantly better if you include it. Like I know some people are like afraid, oh, I don't know, people don't like it, or the rates aren't going to be high enough. Doesn't matter. Some is better than nothing. Put in the ATT prompt.
Oh, love it. Okay. I don't even think we have it. All right. Let me.
Yeah, you got it. You need it.
I don't see. So the monetization, Garrett, I couldn't see your paywall. So I don't want to message any random people, but I don't know what you want me to cover from the monetization standpoint. I mean, I think, I would look at dating apps to see how they're doing it. I would look at other apps from a monetization standpoint. I think it's going to be really hard to monetize, but yeah, that's what I look at. I see a lot of people that I can chat with that I won't chat with, Garrett. All right. Anything you want to cover here, Ashley? Sure. Move on to the next one. All right. Let's get into. Erica says Ashley is the best. That is true. I've learned so much. I've got a lot of notes right here on this side of the computer. All right. Let me go through some of the questions. We got a few LinkedIn questions. For Android campaign. All right, Android. Let's go to Android. We didn't talk about that much. When we start ROAS bidding for Android campaigns, what's the ideal ROAS bidding percentage to start with?
Listen, you got to do the math yourselves, guys. Like, you got to figure out, your payback windows and how much you're willing to. I don't know. It's hard to say. I would say initially you're going to want to start lower, right? Like it's the reverse. I always kind of have to like flip my brain a little bit with if you start lower. Let's say you ideally want a 50% ROAS on day 7, for example. When you're launching it, go ahead and decrease that. They're usually going to tell you to decrease it by like 20% or something. So let's say start it at 40%. Because what can happen is your campaigns on TROAS won't scale enough if the target's too high. And basically it's because Google's like, we can't find anybody that's going to return you at that, to you at that rate. So start a little bit lower than what you actually want when you're getting it going, and then slowly start to increase your ROAS percentage.
I like it. All right. Discrepancy question. On Google Android campaign, I believe MMP data versus Google dashboard data, there'll be 10 to 15% discrepancy. Similarly, what is the acceptable discrepancy for Google iOS campaigns?
Oh man, it's going to be huge. It will be massive. It depends where you're, what you're looking at. The other thing I don't think a lot of people realize is in your MMP, a lot of times, I don't know why they're still showing this. In my opinion, they still show like the IDFA users, like the opted in users. And they'll be like, this is your installs. Then they'll show you in most of the MMPs, your network install, like what the network is reporting. And then if you can pull in the other field, then they're going to show you your scan installs.
Yep.
With Google, that first one, the installs, which is like the pre-iOS 14 measurement, you're going to see nothing because you need the IDFAs, like those are IDFA users, let's say. And Google doesn't prompt, or they didn't until very, very recently. And I still actually haven't even seen it on YouTube, but they don't prompt for ATT on their O&O traffic on their owned and operated. So Google search and YouTube, it's just available on AdMob. I'm getting into a lot of specifics here. If you check out the article, that's where you'll find out, you'll understand this a little bit more. But basically, like Google's not passing very many, if any, IDFA installs. So you're going to see a massive, massive discrepancy there. And then as we talked about, they do model their own conversion. So then you're going to see another massive discrepancy between scan and Google. So it will be really high. Like it can be 100%. Yeah. And it takes quite a bit of work to figure things out, I would say.
Another user says, LinkedIn user, is the audience signal feature really working efficiently, and is the feature available for iOS?
They just launched this recently, so I haven't really seen how well it's working for folks, and I haven't heard. I have 1 or 2 clients that are running it right now, but I can't say definitively how it's working, and I don't know if it's available for iOS. I guess I haven't noticed.
All right, last question from LinkedIn. If we give text only to the campaign, do they serve more on search inventory? Will it be challenged to scale with just text and search inventory?
They won't only serve on search inventory. Use that cut, like I mentioned to Steve, the segmentation, and you can see it by where your network. Text assets can serve on display. They can serve on YouTube. So no, just having them in there is not going to mean that you're only getting search traffic. What was the other part of the question there? And
will it be a challenge to scale? But you can see on our campaign, we don't have any. This is only a text only, and we were able to show on Google Display Network and Google Search and some YouTube as well. So
yeah, I don't know, add in some more assets and see if you can scale it.
Yeah.
The stock assets are literally right there. You don't have to download them anywhere. Like Google gives them to you. And so
that's what you're talking about, Ashley? Yeah. The ones that Google gives you?
Yeah. You don't need to sign up for Shutterstock or anything like that. Just grab them.
I had no idea. I thought you meant like go to Shutterstock and then go find the stock images. You're literally talking about Google.
There you go.
I love
Yeah.
it. Here, I'll show you guys where it is. So add images. You can even generate images, and it
Yeah.
looks like the where's free stock photos.
Stock
So
photos. Type something in. Like, I
okay,
don't know.
our app is like a brainwaves type of app. Let's see. Yeah, so something like this.
Yeah.
Oh my
Just
god,
grab something. And you can also, I'm serious.
I love
You
it. I
can
love
also
it.
create, I mean, they're not great, but you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
create video assets in Google Ads too.
Oh
So
wow,
yeah, if you go to the like asset
believe it.
library section and then you can create it. Again, I wrote a whole article about free tools
I
to
love it.
create more creatives. So if you're tight on budget, I just think that you got to have something in there. Use these things.
Love it. That's awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Mm, let's see. All right, instead of showing it, okay, I think we're good. Let's go last app for Mohammed. Let me pull up Mohammed's app. All right, this is my son trolling me. He just put L. I'm just considering, I don't know which part he watched, but that's what he likes to say to me. All
Gotcha.
right. So Nas says he wants help with ASO, but this is an app that's probably a great candidate for for Google UAC, right?
Yep.
Or okay, you tell me. Actually, sorry.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a competitive
Yep.
space, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of word games out there. So just be aware of that. I think if you're my takeaway when I first saw this, and I'm going to be candid, I'm going to be blunt, is you got to do better at translations on your screenshots. So if you're going to be advertising this in the US, you got to make sure it reads like a native English speaker here. Because people, I think Americans in particular, like they can get turned off by that, or they're like, oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I hate to say this, Steve, but like, parts people are like, made in the USA, like people
Right.
get
Right.
excited about that. So you just want to make sure that like, the stuff reads as grammatically correct as it should.
Yeah.
And that's easy, right? I mean, just plug it into Google Translate, or if you got a friend, like just ask them.
Yeah.
So that was my main feedback here, just at least on the Play Store page.
Yep. I like it. Yeah. For games, Nas ASO is probably not as important. Like, what are they going to search for? Word search? I mean, word gather. Like, there's probably not a lot of traffic. You're going to have to be reliant on some pay channel. And so this is really a part where games super difficult unless it's like a crossword or puzzle logic, things that people are going to be searching for. That type of game, really more hyper casual games, which I'm going to assume yours. I'm going to categorize yours as a hyper casual. You need an a play. It can't work with just ASO alone, because even like Crossy Road or Color Switch, all these popular games, and if you even look at all the Voodoo apps, they don't even pay attention to ASO. They don't care. So yeah.
One piece of feedback that I had for you is like when you're writing your text assets or thinking about it, like think about when somebody would play this game. Not necessarily like you don't need to necessarily highlight the game features, but for like I would lean in more toward like bored for 5 minutes, play this game, right? Because like that's likely when people are going to be doing it, like sitting and waiting, or just need to kill some time. You can go that angle a little bit more, and that might speak to people in the moment.
Got it. I love it. And then Nurek says, got a question, Steve. I like your cool idea about US localization to work the US App Store localization, especially on the iOS side, localizes 9 different localizations. So he's used that. He's jumped from 200 to 65, but how do you move it to 1 to 10? Well, I can't share everything, bro. That's App Masters Academy. So if you want that, it's in there, appmasters.com/academy. Okay, cool. Ashley, anything I missed that you want to make sure we cover?
I think we got it all.
I think so too. This was phenomenal. We got so many notes here too. If you guys are interested in working with Ashley and her team, go check out candidconsultinggroup.com. She knows the ins and outs and could probably help you with the video only. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Pull some strings. Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, it is candidconsultinggroup.com. She knows her stuff when it comes to Google UAC. And Ashley, you said you do Facebook now? Do you do other channels?
Yep, we do Meta and ASA as well. And then, like I
Nice.
mentioned, we've got a creative team that helps and does really great stuff. And then, lastly, like if you know you need an agency, great, we can help you with that. But also, if you're like, hey, just tell me what's wrong with my account,
Yeah.
we can manage it. But tell me everything I don't know. We can also do audits. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I love it. And I think that's like the no-brainer. Go get it done. candidconsultinggroup.com. Ashley, thank you so much. I don't think we have any other questions. And if I did, I'm sorry. We went long anyways for you guys. So thank you so much for coming on. Anything else you want to promote? Or if the audience wants to connect with you, do you want to send them anywhere else besides candidconsultinggroup.com?
You can find me on my LinkedIn. I'm super responsive there. So yeah, follow me along too, because I post content from time to time on like tips. So I'm always trying to help people out if I can. And so you can find me. I'm Ashley Black. Pretty easy to find.
And Ashley's LinkedIn profile is linked up on your favorite podcast, YouTube description, everywhere else as well. So go, if you do nothing else, go follow her on LinkedIn. She's a great follow. She has some great content on there as well. All right. Next week, we're back, baby. We're going to talk to Josh. He's been able to scale his app, bootstrapped his app to $2 million ARR. He just surpassed it. We had to update the title where you had the title and probably some of the graphics. So essentially, you had to fix all that up. But he's been able to scale, bootstrap his app to 2 million ARR, and he's going to break down how he's been able to do that as well. Ashley, thank you so much for coming on. I owe you something because you won the joke round. That was good. I thought we both had strong jokes.
They were strong. Yeah. They were strong. But I drink coffee. So there you go.
I'm not. But once again, it is, if you want to work with Ashley, go to candidconsultinggroup.com. Thanks, Ashley, and see you guys. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.